We are having a ball here at the Detroit Regional Chamber Policy Conference on radio stations all across the state of Michigan, including WDTW 1310 AM in Detroit. It's Michael Patrick Shiels. Donna Barbera is here too, and we're on Fox 47 television in the state capitol. And we were so lucky to get to talk to the people we get to, and the mayor of the city of Detroit, the industrialist, the basketball star, Dave Bing. How nice to meet you in person.
Well, thank you so much. My pleasure meeting you and pleasure being here again.
Appreciate that very much. I mentioned to you off the air that I worked for J.P. McCarthy, who, when I was really young, and he used to say, you know, I've got socks older than you. But he was like a father figure to me, and so I'm sure he would be happy that we're connecting.
Absolutely. Knew him well for a long time. He was a giant in our city and in this industry, and obviously is missed.
Yeah, he is missed, and he would be very much enjoying the things that are happening in the city. He would have enjoyed the Super Bowl. He would have enjoyed, frankly, the casinos and the new arenas and all the energy that you're putting into it. I'm just curious, when you wake up in the morning, are you excited to go to work, or do you say, oh, dear God, I've got to do that again?
Oh, no. I'm excited because there's so much to do. I don't care how many hours you put in a day. There's always something left to do.
Yeah.
I wake up, I think about the things that I've got to do for that particular day. You get in the office and your schedule changes because you get a phone call, one or two here or there, and something else takes your attention away from what you thought you were going to schedule.
Yeah, well, I see you're going to meet with Ray LaHood on Monday, as I understand it, and Governor Snyder, too, about the light rail project?
That's correct. We think we're moving that project forward. The business investors have just done a tremendous job. And in terms of transportation, that will be a great link, I think, for downtown to regional transportation.
CJP would have loved that too, because we could hop on in the New Center area, hop on that light rail, go down and see the Tigers, and then get back to the Fisher Building and finish the day. That's the thought. You mentioned business leaders, Roger Penske, obviously very excited this week about the Grand Prix, Pete Carmanos, the Illiches, and Dan Gilbert, all involved in the light rail. The reason I'm curious now, if you look at the Nolan Finley's column this morning, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but in relation to business leaders, he is implying in this column that they do not want you to run for re-election. It's an unpleasant column to read in the morning, I'm sure. But has anyone asked you or suggested, any of these business leaders that supported you, indicated to you that maybe one term is enough?
Absolutely not. That has not happened. I know them all well.
Yeah.
I'm with them on a consistent basis. Mm-hmm. Nolan has his opinion, and I respect his opinion. But he has no influence on what I'm going to do one way or the other.
You're going to have a press conference on the porch, as I understand it, a little bit later. At that press conference, will you tell us that you are, in fact, running for mayor again?
That's not what the press conference will be about. Some other things that I've got to discuss and bring forward.
Well, there's plenty to talk about, for sure, other than that. But will you run again? Have you thought about it?
Oh, I've thought about it. I'm giving it a lot of thought. People are saying to me, because of the incident I had with my health,
yes,
people thought that it was too much pressure. It had nothing to do with that at all. I've been under pressure most of my life.
Yeah, I'd say so.
But I went in for a colonoscopy, and there was an error made, and because of that, I had about 7 weeks with a hole in my colon that I didn't know about. And fortunately, I was healthy, and I pulled through.
So you have thought a lot about it, speculated about all over the place. There are some people on this island who sort of are acting like maybe they're going to run, but will you run again?
Well, once again, I've given that a lot of thought. There's so much I've got to do yet. I mean, I've got 18 months, and if I start thinking about and take my focus away from the things that I think needs to happen, such as getting our lights on, such as making sure that our bus system is improving, making sure that, once again, from a public safety standpoint, we're making progress. Those are things that I absolutely have to focus on, so that's what I'm going to do.
You mentioned lighting. Roger Penske is suggesting that the city privatize the lighting system. I was with Jim Cash yesterday from Chrisman Company. He said they've been asked to bid on it. Is that suitable for you to make the lighting privatized?
Absolutely. That's what we've been looking at. I think we're hoping that legislation is going to come out of committee today that will put us in a position to raise some bond money so that we can fix the lights. But then we want to outsource it to a private company.
Mm-hmm. What's your best case scenario? You mentioned that you have, 18 months left, something like that, until maybe you run again, maybe you don't. What's the best case scenario? What would you like to see happen in the next 18 months?
Well, I think one of the things that we've got to do outside of the things I just talked about is look at our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods has to have support. I mean, downtown is going pretty well. Midtown is really booming. But we've got a lot of people in our neighborhoods that are hurting. And those are the things that I've got to pay a lot of attention to. The Detroit Works program is one that we've been talking about for a long time. We're now getting, I think, some traction relative to the 3 demonstration neighborhoods where we're focusing our resources and making sure that people are getting the services that they need and require. So that's where a lot of focus is going to be.
Reverend Wendell Anthony said mayor of the city of Detroit is the toughest job in the world. Do you agree?
Well, we got a president in Washington that may differ with that, but I'll tell you right now, that is one of the most difficult jobs in the world based on what had happened over a long period of time, or what didn't happen over a long period of time. So I thought I knew what I was getting into, thought I knew the depth of the problems much deeper than I even thought when I got in there. And now that I'm there are a lot of things that I think we've corrected, and whomever, whether it's me or somebody else for the next 4 years, they're going to get into a much better situation than I inherited.
What was the biggest surprise?
I think it was a culture shock for me, because you had a lot of people that I think they were good people, but they were never held accountable for getting anything done. So they came to work every day and went through the motions and didn't get a lot of things done. So accountability has been a key, and then once again making sure people were honest.
You are a businessman turned political leader. Governor Snyder in the same boat, nearly about the same time. What do you take of his measure? Because he's had to adopt in much the same way you have.
Yeah, I think he's done an outstanding job. I think the economy, national and surely in this state, turned around and has helped a lot. But he's done a good job. I think he's put a good team together. He's been very consistent. He's been very focused. Our relationship is a good relationship, and in order for Detroit to do well, we have to have a great relationship with Lansing.
When do you feel most like the mayor?
To be very honest with you, when I'm in the office, I guess or when I go to schools to speak to kids, because kids relate very much with a title.
Yes.
But I enjoy it, and I think I make a difference in the lives of kids, and that's going to be so important for the future of our city.
There's no question about that. They must look up at you and say, holy Toledo, this guy's a rock star. He was an NBA star, a business star, and now taking on a tough job. At this point in your life, a lot of people said, what does he need that for? Why would he need that headache? Well, is it a sense of duty?
Yeah, I think so. I care. I've been in Detroit all of my adult life, 46 years, and I've seen the ups and downs, and we're at a situation when I came into office where we were the laughing stock of the country, and I got a lot of pride, and I'm very competitive, and I didn't want to be part of that. I wanted to be part of the turnaround, and that is now happening. I think as we move through the rest of this calendar year, I think some of the initiatives in my plan are starting to become a reality, and we're going to see a lot of good things come out.
Well, we're out of time. We'll have to talk again soon. My gosh, I could talk to you all day, obviously, but everybody wants to talk to you, and you're making your way around, so thank you very much. Great pleasure to meet you, sir.
My pleasure also. Thank you.
See you in the city soon. We're on WDTW 1310 AM in Detroit and on radio stations all across the state, and you know what happens to Detroit matters to the state and vice versa, too. All the best to Dave Bing, the mayor of the city of Detroit.